And welcome everybody back to the Fantasy Savvy Weekly Show with your host, Steve D'Angelo. Back tonight with an FFPC SuperFlex Draft. And we're also going to talk about within this draft our buys, our sells, sleepers, and busts. Some of the guys I'm in, some of the guys I'm out on. And we are in the third round. I'm going to bring the draft board up in a little bit. Matter of fact, I'll bring it up real quick now, and then we'll get back into our intro. But thanks for joining me, everybody, tonight. This is the Fantasy Savvy Weekly Show. We are in the third round of a FFPC SuperFlex Draft. Tight end premium, 1.5 points to the tight end. So tight ends are more highly valued, as you see. Trey McBride just go off right there. And I am up next here. And I don't think I've ever live streamed a Superflex draft, and I just kind of joined this one late. I was just looking at what drafts were available tonight, and I had a $35 free credit from FFPC, so I entered this draft, and it started a little late, but it did fill. So I did start my draft with Tyreek Hill, and I took Jordan Love with my next pick. So we have, a decent amount of quarterbacks left. Let's see what other skill position we have. Jonathan Taylor, Saquon, Derrick Henry at receiver. We have Puka, Drake London, Jahmyr Gibbs just goes before me. Mark Andrews, Dalton Kincaid also available, but I'm going to go Jonathan Taylor here. Anthony Richardson is back healthy. I think he's past that shoulder injury. Jonathan Taylor, look at the way he ended the season last year. Very, very strong. Now he has Anthony Richardson. He's over that contract dispute. He's fully healthy. He's fresh. He's had a lot of time off. So he's rearing to go. Anthony Richardson, second year in Shane Steichen's system. There goes Devin A-Chain. People are just shooting for that upside. But that's how I start my draft, guys. As you can see, Tyreek, Jordan Love, and Jonathan Taylor, FFPC SuperFlex tight end premium draft. Check it out. They have tons of different drafts. This one is only $35 entry. I believe if you finish top 2, top 3, you advance to the postseason round, and the grand prize is $100,000. Now, there's a lot of entries, of course, probably upwards over 10,000 entries to get to that grand prize. But, it's fun. You do a couple of these. It's not crazy expensive. Maybe you do 2 or 3, something like that. The drafts move pretty quick, and it is Superflex, which is different. So, you're going to see quarterbacks going in the first, second round very, very early. You're going to see, unusual quarterbacks going early as well, just because you get that second player in your flex, and it is a quarterback, which is big. Because, the quarterbacks obviously give you the most fantasy points. So it really changes things up. And then you get a lot of these, guys like Saquon and Jonathan Taylor falling, into the third round. So it's a little bit different from your standard draft. But I wanted to do this with you guys because I have not yet done a live Superflex draft. So thanks for joining me, guys. This is the Fantasy Savvy Weekly Show. We are going to come back on the other side and go into this draft in depth, talk about some of the teams, some of the builds, talk about some of the players we're into, some of the players we're not into, sleepers, butts, all that. Like and subscribe the show. If you are watching on YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, appreciate it. And then follow me on X at Fantasy Savvy. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Fantasy Savvy Weekly Show with your host, Steve D'Angelo, discussing high-stakes fantasy football, NFL picks, and much more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Okay, we're back here on the Fantasy Savvy Weekly Show. Just about to finish up the third round of a 20-round Superflex draft here on the FFPC Fantasy Football Players Championship. Go check out their site. Lots of different drafts. I do play in the NFC. I've done a couple RotoWire online already. I also play in the FFPC. Check out the FF Faceoff show, Faceoff Sports Network. We did a draft on Friday night. That was also a super flex. That was $50 buy-in. That was a lot of fun. Go check that out. You also like, subscribe, share over there. Faceoff Sports Network. I'm with those guys Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I'll be doing some live drafts. And and it during up until the season starts, and then when the season drops, I think I'm going to take my NFL pick show over to them. We'll see, or if not, I'll keep it here. But that's what you can kind of expect. Up until the season starts on this channel is a lot of live drafts. I may discuss certain rankings, maybe sleepers, bust, buys, sells, stuff like that. But mostly a lot of live drafts. I'm a high stakes player, so I'm playing in these NFC, FFPC, FFWC, and maybe I'll do a couple more Best Ball Mania underdog drafts as well, because that's obviously a big time tournament there that a lot of people are getting into. I'm coming up here in the fourth round. And then I'll probably do some a waiver uh, show on probably late, like Tuesday night or Wednesday night, or like a recap basically of the previous week. So you guys could, you know, just get an idea of what I'm doing during the week. Basically, I go back and I try to watch every single game from the previous week on the ticket, not the ticket, the freaking NFL Rewind on NFL Network. And then just watch the condensed version, and I make notes and I kind of go over the most notable things that happen. And because when you're watching on the red zone, you got freaking 11, 12 games. You're really only focusing on two or three, and you're only seeing the touchdowns and the highlights in a lot of those games. So you're missing a lot of the key things that are happening. So when you go back, even if it's condensed version, it's quick. It's 30 minutes. You miss some of the commentary and whatnot, and maybe a couple different things, but you're seeing every single play in the game. So you pick up a lot of things that are happening. So just some things to expect here from my channel. Smash that like, subscribe button. I appreciate it. Okay, we're back up. Sitting at quarterback, we got Kirk Cousins. Now you don't want to wait too long at quarterback. You can really get screwed here. Sitting at receiver, we got Devontae Adams, Travis Etienne at running back, Jordan Love, Taylor, Tyreek so far. Thinking about going Etienne here or Debo. With all this crazy Brandon Ayuk talk right now, absolutely insane. I'm gonna wait on quarterback. Do I want Etienne or do I want? You know what? I haven't really taken a lot of Travis Etienne. I'm gonna take him here, and this is a little bit different too. It's you could start up to four running backs. You could start up to four receivers. It's two running backs, two receivers, and two flex with the tight end. So you can start three tight ends in the tight end premium, which I did. I actually did my first FFPC Players Champ or Fantasy Pros Championship, was what they call it now. For that's a $350 entry. I did that last week, and some guys started three tight ends. I think he started with Laporta, Kelsey, and Andrews, which is it's a different type of build. He's got three elite tight ends, and he could start all of them every week. I didn't really remember how he filled his team out, but that's certainly something you could do. It could burn you because obviously you're sacrificing at running back, receiver, and somewhat quarterback, but you're getting those three elite tight ends to start your draft in the tight end premium, and it's a different type of build in a large pool tournament. I kind of like it. By the way, my name is Chippy McQueeks. I always try to come up with these weird ass names, throw people off. Like, who the hell is this freaking guy? His team sucks. Weird ass name. I try to these freaking weird ass. I try to go away from like the typical fantasy football name that have like the players' names involved with it. I do enjoy some of those though. I mean, some of them are real creative, but I just kind of try to go all the way off the wall and be really weird with my names. So if you follow my drafts, you'll see a lot of these weird names. Okay, so we are in the fifth round now, and let's take a look at this board. I'm coming back up. Um, So team one starts with Josh Allen and Purdy. Then he follows it up with Harrison, Pacheco, and Cup. Team two goes Jalen Hurts, then Garrett Wilson, Caleb Williams, Devontae Adams. Team three, Christian McCaffrey, Jaden Daniels, Trey McBride, Matthew Stafford. So he has his two quarterbacks. So everybody's got two quarterbacks except for me, team six, team seven, team 10, and team 12. Team 11 has Burrow, Lawrence. Team nine has Stroud and Murray. Team eight starts with Richardson and Prescott. Very nice. And then he still gets Barkley and Kincaid, kind of like that. Team six goes with the Kelsey Mahomes stack, then gets A-Chain and Nico, kind of like that as well. And then team seven, Lamar, AJ Brown, Puka, Olave. Team four, CD, Laporta, Gibbs, Cousins. Team three, back on the clock now. Team two takes Evan Ingram. Again, tight end premium. You're seeing the and Superflex. You're seeing these quarterbacks and tight ends off the board very, very early. So again, a unique type of draft, very, very different from your standard PPR home league, or even any other draft that's not Superflex. Superflex just really bumps up these quarterbacks. And then it leaves value. Like, I could take Debo here, which I like. I could take the quarterbacks are starting to go a little bit. I might have to clip a quarterback right here. And the quarterbacks aren't great. Herbert, he's got that freaking plantar fasciitis. It's going to keep him out a couple weeks. New offense. But I don't even give a shit. Like, I think it's going to be an upgrade regardless, even with the time off, because Brandon Staley was just such a shit show, has all that talent. So I think Harbaugh will kind of right the ship and kind of turn this offense around and make Herbert even better. And I think Herbert could even run more. Now, this plantar fasciitis thing is a little bit concerning. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to pass on quarterback again. I'm going to take Debo. And Brandon Ayuk seems like he's on the way out. There's reports now that it's either or Ayuk could either go to the Patriots, or the Cleveland Browns, and supposedly it's Cooper if they make a deal with the Browns, which is, I don't know. This is according to Warren Sharp. I saw a tweet that he made, and then it's for the Patriots, Kendrick Bourne. And then I'm sure it's a lot of picks as well. If you're just sending Kendrick Bourne, you got to be sending some firsts, at least a couple seconds or something, or some future firsts. Maybe a little couple years to the future. But we'll see. It sounds like it's up to Ayuk. I guess the Niners could still just keep him if they wanted to. They don't really have to trade him, but it seems like they're going to oblige. And they may be content with their wide receiver room after taking Ricky Pearsall out of Florida, and Jacob Cohen, who I also like, even though he's banged up right now. And don't forget, they got Jawan Jennings, who, was their leading receiver, against the who the hell they against the Packers. When they beat the Packers, he was their leading receiver. He had more yards than Ayuk. He also had a nice Super Bowl game against the Chiefs. So I think Jawan Jennings could be a factor that helps Jawan Jennings. I think he's now draftable. Obviously Ricky Pearsall would take a step up, and even Jacob Cohen. You're doing a best ball draft, or even a draft like this. You want to take a receiver late, be a little bit different in a large field tournament, before things start to pop off week one. You can get ahead of the game. Just be a little bit obscure with it and take Jacob Cohen. So I don't mind that either. But we'll see. We may have an answer, may not have an answer tomorrow, on what's going to happen with Brandon Ayuk, but things are certainly getting very, very interesting at the moment. And there goes Malik Neighbors. People absolutely are in love with this guy. And I don't know. Like, I watched all the snaps for Neighbors and Thomas, and I came away liking Thomas more. I'm trying to watch Neighbors more and more. And the thing I've noticed about Neighbors, it just seems like he glides, and he just is so explosive, and he just can constantly just burn defensive backs, sort of like Jamar Chase. Kind of just has that just throw it to him deep and he'll just beat you, or he'll just run right past you. Also could body you up a little bit too. Good in traffic. So, there's a lot of questions about Daniel Jones, and his accuracy issues, and struggled with injuries, um, and hasn't performed up to par. At least last season, coming 2 years ago, coming off that year where he had, I don't know, wasn't many touchdowns, it was 16 throwing touchdowns. But he had that, a lot of rushing yards, but he was pretty efficient. He was very efficient. He was accurate. Looked like he was buying into the system. And before he got hurt last year, like his best game was the second half against the Cardinals, and every other game he was pretty much terrible. And then he got hurt, knocked out for the year. The Giants, we all saw it on Hard Knocks. They were really contemplating drafting a receiver. They didn't get the receiver they want, so they kind of went to their plan B, which was just try to give him as much help as possible. And that was, taking Malik Neighbors with the 6th overall pick, after, those quarterbacks were gone. They weren't able to trade up. They weren't able to get the guy they wanted, so they just settled on Neighbors. And they paid Daniel Jones all that money. So we'll see. They back him up with Drew Lock, who had some decent games down the stretch with Seattle. Beat Philly, in Seattle. They had a couple nice passes to DK. I think had that winning pass to JSN to go ahead against Philly. So maybe we see Drew Lock at some point. Maybe that's better for my Neighbors. I don't know. But there's certainly questions with the quarterback. So for him to go, in a regular draft, like 3rd or 4th round, could be a little high. Could be a little high, but I certainly understand the talent. I certainly understand the upside, and that's mostly what you're chasing. Upside in these type of uh, tournament, high stake environment, um, drafts. Okay, round 6 here now. We see Jake Ferguson go off the board. I still haven't taken a tight end. I do like David Njoku a lot. The quarterbacks are drying up. Do I go after Deshaun Watson? Do I go after Aaron Rodgers? Do I wait? I want to get 3 quarterbacks because I want to be able to, um, have that flexibility, especially now since I don't really have a stud second quarterback. I think I'm going to take Aaron Rodgers. He's just the most reliable there. So let's see. Let's see what I do here. But I'd like to get maybe a Derek Carr or even a Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix is going to win that job. Maybe take Fields, but as my 3rd quarterback also. There goes Deshaun Watson. So I got to take it. I got to take a quarterback here. I don't want to wait too long. Freaking George Pickens is sitting there. He's still got Njoku. This is the tricky thing about Superflex. You don't want to wait too long on the quarterback. There could be a little bit of a period where these quarterbacks sit, but I'm going to jump on Aaron Rodgers right here. I just don't want to be left with like Bryce Young as my second quarterback. And then I really won't be able to get a third one because it gets dicey. Then you're dealing with freaking Sam Darnold, Drake May, Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, Jacoby Brissett. It gets dicey. All right, so we do start our draft with Tyreek Hill, Jordan Love, Jonathan Taylor, Travis Etienne, Debo Samuel, and Aaron Rodgers. Again, you could start up to 4 running backs, up to 4 wide receivers, 2 running back, 2 receiver, 2 flex. And then it's the quarterback, 1 quarterback, and then there's also a super flex. Actually, you know what? Let me check that real quick. Because I know all FFPCs are 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex. Do they add another lineup spot and add the super flex as well? Shame on me for not freaking knowing. Let's look at it real quick, guys. Let's look at the rules. Let's look at the lineups. One quarterback, two running backs, two receivers, one tight end, and two flex players. Okay, so two flex could be one flex could be two flex. Yeah, so the two flex players, I guess one of them is the super flex, so they don't add an extra flex player. So either way, you could still start four running backs, four receivers, but you're not going to want to do that, with the super flex format. At the most, you're going to want to start three of each, and then get that other quarterback in there. Okay, that's all I wanted to know. That's all I wanted to confirm. That is fine. That's kind of what I thought it was going to be. Let's jump back into this draft room. Let's open up the draft board. Okay, so there goes George Pickens, who I was a little bit tempted to take. There's been a lot of chemistry with him and Justin Fields. There's been, even earlier when Russ was healthy before that cap that he's been struggling to come back from. Um, there was talk about chemistry with him and Russ. So, it seems like George Pickens is going 19 drafts here. I gotta close one of these boxes out. Um, oh shit, we lost the board, guys. Let's bring it back up. All right, there we go. All right, so I am back up. Let's see. Do we want to go David Njoku, Kenneth Walker, Aaron Jones, T. Higgins? Jesus, this is tough, guys. It's tough with this tight end premium, man. Still got two freaking draft windows open. All right, let's take the Joku because I'm not going to pick for a while, and these tight ends are probably going to get gobbled up. So let me get one of these. I really like the Joku. I feel like he could have a top 3 season. Um, if Deshaun's sticking around there most of the year. Really like the Joku's talent. He's kind of blossoming later in his career, but as far as talent, I think he's up there. More talented than some of these guys that are already taken. I think he's more talented than Ferguson. You could argue he's just as talented as Pitts um, and Ingram as well. So, Trey McBride could argue he's more talented than him. Yeah, they got Amari Cooper. They bring in Jerry Judy. Nick Chubb's going to be banged up to start the year, it appears. Might not start the first couple weeks. So I think they're going to pass the ball more. And now, if they get Brandon Ayuk, that could certainly hurt Njoku a little bit, but it could, maybe help him as well. Just make this offense a little bit more explosive. Give him more red zone opportunities. Also, I think it would hurt Judy more than anything. But we'll see if he even ends up in Cleveland. But they're saying even if he goes to Cleveland, Amari Cooper's out the window. So, according to Warren Sharp. So I don't know. We'll see. Either way, I like Njoku. I like his talent. I like where I can get him. And I really feel like he can have a career year this year. He's kind of like been late to blossom. He's struggled with injuries, and kind of like, suspect quarterback play. So I think this is the year he could put it all together. I like him as kind of a, middle round tight end after those, elite tight ends go. I mean, I could have waited. I could have got, maybe a strong receiver or running back here, but there's still some receivers I like. I already grabbed two already. There's still some running backs I like, and this is tight end premium. So I am getting 1.5 point per reception. If you guys have any comments, questions, you think I should take a certain guy, you don't think I should take a certain guy, you think I made a mistake, you think I made a great pick, you got any questions about fantasy in general, feel free to comment, guys. I'll answer anything you got. I appreciate you guys checking in. We got some live viewers here. head over to my YouTube page, like, subscribe, share, and give me a follow on X at Fantasy Savvy. I appreciate it. All right. We now are in the beginning of the eighth round. Like I said, there goes Brock Bowers. Goddard may linger around for a little bit. He's kind of like the last tight end I like. And then I think there's a little bit of a drop off. Fryermuth, I think, could step up a little bit this year. Schultz is like, you know, he, he was decent last year. He had some good games, but he had some games where he did absolutely nothing. Hawkinson sounds like he's going to miss like a month at least. And now you have worse quarterback play. And then Cole Kmet. I mean, they bring in Gerald Everett. I do not like Cole Kmet this year. So that's one of my tight end fades right there. I do not like Cole Kmet and Luke Musgrave. I do not like him either. I think now they just announced that Tucker Kraft is off the pup. He's back. He had some kind of I think it was a chest injury, oblique, not chest, pectoral injury, something like that. But he's back, and I think he's more talented than Musgrave. So I'm not drafting Musgrave. Kind of like Hunter Henry late. Um, you know, Supposedly him and Jacoby Brissett have a nice connection. Kate Otten, I don't mind either. He kind of came on towards the end of last year and in the playoffs had a big game. He could be a little bit more of a factor. People like Noah Fant. I don't know. I can't get behind Noah Fant. I always like this talent, but it just hasn't happened for him yet. Is it going to happen now? I don't think so. Chig, I like him. New regime there in Tennessee. Hopefully they can utilize him a little bit more. There's been some talk. A lot of people like Josh Wild, their second year tight end as well. Isaiah Likely, there's talk that he may be like their second best or third best wide receiver, and they're going to use him more with Andrews on the field. But it seems like they've been saying that the past couple of years, and it hasn't come into fruition. So it might be another, Andrews injury to get him going. But I do like taking him late a lot of the times as well. So we'll see what we're going to come back to here. Again, I liked a lot of the receivers that were sitting there. I wanted to get Terry McLaurin. There goes Aaron Jones. Shit. All right. So some of the guys that I liked are gone. The quarterbacks, I said I wanted to take Bo Nix. You got Russell Wilson, but there goes Derek Carr. Wow. Shit. I got to close one of these windows. This is freaking annoying. Okay, there we go. Guys, what do we do here? Some drafts I've been taking Russ and Fields. I mean, Nix, Wilson. I mean, Wilson could lose his job. Nix isn't really guaranteed the job. Jared Stidham, supposedly, he's battling with him. Who knows with McCarthy, Fields, May. I think I'm going to wait on quarterback here. Fuck it. I'll figure it out later. I'm going to take Christian Watson here just because I have Jordan Love. So I got that stack going right there. So I like that. And I took him over Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed is going higher in most drafts. And it's, he brings a different dynamic to the team than Christian Watson. Christian Watson is like their deep threat. He's like their kind of their touchdown guy. Whenever he is healthy, he is producing. Now, usually what happens with Christian Watson every single year is he gets hurt. Then he plays like 2 or 3, 4 games. He kind of starts slow. Then all of a sudden he gets, fully back. He gets absolutely hot. He goes over like 3, 4 games. This has happened the past 2 years. Look at his game locks. He goes off for there goes Justin Fields already. Holy shit. In the 8th round. People are really buying into that. I mean, you take Justin Fields and he starts starting for the Steelers, and we saw what he did, run for 1,000 yards. So he could be an absolute steal in a Superflex league or even a best ball league late. Those are the 2 leagues you're drafting him in. A 1 quarterback league, you're not taking him, obviously, because he doesn't have a starting job. But in a Superflex best ball, he could be absolutely lethal and be a very, very sneaky ass sleeper along with not a, I'm saying like under the radar pick kind of that people aren't really thinking about in a late in a best ball, and stack him with George Pickens. And then also, in a super flex league, I just, I would expect some other guys, but at this point, there's really no other quarterbacks left. So yeah, I understand Fields going there. So it makes sense that the quarterbacks are kind of flying here. But as far as Christian Watson, what I was saying was when he comes back, takes a little while to warm up, and then he goes off like one touchdown, two touchdowns, two touchdowns, one touchdown, and then he gets hurt again. It's happened the past 2 seasons. So he did a lot of work, trying to gain more weight in the other leg or get the other leg bigger so he could get both legs the same, so he could balance out his hamstrings. So one leg wasn't bigger than the other leg. So he's been doing a lot of work. Hopefully, he can stay healthy. Jaden Reed, is going first. He's kind of like that hybrid running back, kind of Debo role on the team. But you also have Dontavian Wicks, who's a nice route runner. Romeo Dobbs, who was their most productive receiver last year. So I could get those guys later as well. But I kind of like getting Watson because I feel like if he plays the full 16 games, I personally think that him and Dobbs are like the two favorites to put up the best numbers. But I do like Reed. Like I remember watching Reed last year. I'm like, wow, this guy is legit. He's got some burst. Uh, I just kind of, oh wow, and Reed is still there. So I mean, I could take him right now and get a triple stack with Love. Um, Najee is still sitting there, and I kind of like Najee actually at the running back position this year. Back to quarterbacks. Bo Nix is still sitting there, but you know what? I'm gonna go Najee and build my running back depth. So I get Taylor, Etienne, and Najee, Tyreek, Debo, Christian Watson, Njoku, Jordan Love, and Aaron Rodgers. So I like this team. It's balanced. Um, I got three solid running backs. The Steelers bring in Arthur Smith. They improved their offensive line. They improved their quarterback play. So more opportunities for Najee around the goal line. You still have Jalen Warren there, of course. But Arthur Smith, he knows how to run the football. That's one thing he can do. He's got a good running scheme with Derrick Henry, with the Falcons. So this should be a nice year for Najee. Contract year. He's shed some weight. Should be a little bit quicker. Again, the offensive line's improved. The quarterback play has improved from years prior. So I do like getting Najee Harris. I feel like he's a solid pick at running back this year. And I could have took Reed there, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take probably Romeo Dobbs, and then if I can't get Dobbs, I'll grab Wicks and kind of get that triple stack with the Packers there. Um, I do like stacking Jordan Love, whether it's best ball or a redraft like this. Um, because you can take Love past those first few quarterbacks that go, and then it's kind of easy to stack with him because he's got four guys, and then you could also take one of the tight ends. My preferred tight end is Tucker Kraft, and I'll probably end up taking him in this draft again, just off the PUP. I think he's a better player than Musgrave. Now, those two may kind of offset each other. The coaching staff may not fully realize that Musgrave is better. Musgrave certainly could end up being better. Just my opinion there. I just think when I watched the two, I thought I liked Kraft better. I know a lot of people like Musgrave better. He was the higher pick also. And they took both those guys last year in the draft. But yeah, Tucker Kraft just stuck out to me more. So that's the thing about Jordan Love. He's a guy you can easily stack, and now he's the highest paid quarterback in football, which is insane. And just coming off a year where he threw 32 touchdowns or 30 touchdown, or was it 30 or 32? He also ran for 3. He's got some running upside as well. So I think it's going to be a continuation of that. I think they're going to toss the football around. They have 4 very, very unique. Everyone's kind of unique, and they're all lethal. They're all dangerous in their own way. So it's like they got the little Wu-Tang Clan freaking boy band group over there. Some kind of dangerous shit going on. More like Wu-Tang Clan. I can't really say Wu-Tang Clan than a boy band right after that, but but you get what I'm saying. They got some guys there. They don't really have like a true number one, although I feel like Watson possibly could become a number one, like a true number one. But Dobbs is nice. He's a good route runner. Wicks is nice. We saw him in the playoff game against the Cowboys, School and Stephon Gilmore. Little hezzy route, give him a little shimmy to the right, bounce to the left. Um, so they're lethal. And you got Jaden Reed, of course, the tight ends. They bring in Josh Jacobs. So I like it as a stack. All right. So I did mention I wanted to get 3 quarterbacks, and it was good that I passed because I was thinking about taking Bo Nix there. These guys are kind of just sitting right now. I mean, worst comes to worst, I could just well, they're saying Taysom Hill's not really going to play too much quarterback this year, but we'll see. But worst comes to worst, he's going to play tight end. So it's like, if one of my guys got hurt, I could just take Taysom Hill and then, put him in as a flex if I wanted to, something like that, or Jacoby Brissett. I do think Minshew's going to win the job. That's somebody I could take there. I feel like Drake May at some point should take over for Brissett because I don't really see the Patriots doing much. So they're going to want to see what they have in Drake May at some point. And then Brissett, I don't think he's going to really play that well regardless. Um, Now, listening to Greg Cosell about a month ago, he said that he thought Darnold was going to start week 1. He really thought, it was going to take a while for McCarthy to develop. But now there's rumblings that McCarthy could be the starter, and he's outplaying Sam Darnold. And Russell Wilson, he kind of just sits there too. Fields constantly goes ahead of him. But Fields, Russell Wilson should be the week 1 starter, but that's sort of shifting too. There's a chance Fields could start week 1. There goes TJ Hawkinson at this point. I think that's a solid pick. All right, Keon Coleman, who I've been, I'm having a tough time with Keon Coleman, man. I feel like he's either going to be really nasty or he's just going to be kind of like inconsistent, maybe finish like 6, 7 touchdowns. Um, I do like him more than a Dunze though in his rookie year. Call me crazy, but I'm feeling Dunze. So do I go back to receiver here? Yeah, I do. Um, you know what? I'm going to take Keon Coleman. Was just actually before I got on here, I was watching the LSU Florida State game. I think it was opening game last year in Orlando. LSU Florida State. You had freaking Jaden Daniels, you had Trey Benson, you had Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, and Keon Coleman all in that game. Keon Coleman went off in that game. And when I watched Keon Coleman, like I watched all his targets, and it's I watch a guy who doesn't really like have a lot of doesn't create a lot of separation, especially downfield. Um, not really great after the catch. Doesn't really do a lot after the catch. Like I came away thinking, okay, this guy's good, but I thought there was better receivers ahead of him in the draft that the Bills could have taken. For example, Xavier Legette stood out to me more, but they're kind of saying Legette's struggling in camp a little bit, or he hasn't really showed any wild plays yet. And supposedly Terrence Marshall and Jonathan Mingo are ahead of him. I don't know if that's true or not. And Legette kind of hurt his hammy, and then he had that foot injury, so he's been a little bit banged up. So it might have been just kind of a slow start. We'll see. We got a couple weeks left into the season. We got preseason games. He could certainly show out. To me, he was just so impressive. He really stood out on tape. There was other guys like Brian Thomas. I thought they could have traded up for maybe stuff like that. But now that when I start thinking about the type of player Keon Coleman is, uh, you know, basketball player at Michigan State. Let me just make this pick. Now we'll talk about Keon Coleman a little bit more. Oh, there goes Bo Nix. I kind of wanted to take Bo Nix. I haven't been taking a lot of Bo Nix. Mm. And Cortland Sutton goes. What am I doing here? Jameson Williams. I'm gonna take Jameson Williams. This is kind of a unique draft. Like normally I wouldn't take JMO and freaking Keon. We'll finish up Keon, then we'll talk about Jameson Williams and my thoughts on him. But the more I think about him and Allen connecting, Allen, he could just laser that ball, and he's kind of been needing um a guy that could win those 50-50 balls. I mean, Gabe was like more of like a downfield guy. Um, and we did see Gabe go off for some games where he had 2, 3 touchdowns and he would just kind of explode. So this kind of could be like a Gabe thing where Keon's just going off one week and then the other week he's not doing anything. It could be frustrating like that, but it also could be a little bit more consistent as well. I don't like the fact that he's not a big separator, but you throw him a 50-50 ball and he's pretty damn good coming down with it. Um, And even though his 40 time wasn't great, there was some NFL next gen stats. I was watching a video, like some of his routes, like he was ranking like top 3. So like when you actually, put the pads on, he's running actual real routes, like his speed kind of turns up a little bit more, even though that didn't really show up on tape. Like his short area burst is better than his long speed. But I do feel like, Keon, there's a world where he could come away with like 9, 10 touchdowns this year and maybe like 700, 800 yards and like 60, 70 catch. Like there's a world where he could do that playing with Josh Allen. And, I think Josh Allen just really has a lot. I mean, they brought in all these different receivers, Andy Isabella, KJ Hamler, Chase Claypool, MVS, Matt Collins. They bring in Curtis Sam, and they're letting all these guys battle it out. And I think that's just going to make the receiving room so much better. And I do think, he's got a lot of different guys and a lot of different skill sets to work with Shakir, with Samuel, with potentially MVS or Matt Collins. I think Claypool's going to get cut. KJ Hamler looks like he's got an outside chance to make the team. MVS was kind of looking bad, but um, he can certainly make the team. We'll see if Matt Collins makes the team. It sounds like he will. We'll see. I don't know how many receivers they're going to freaking keep. It doesn't seem like Isabella is going to make the team, but he hasn't really stuck around anywhere he's went. But Curtis Samuels, they still got Kincaid. There's so many different types of guys you can use, and I do think the team chemistry is going to be better with all these different guys. Now that Diggs is gone, I think Diggs was kind of like a little bit of a dark cloud. I mean, he was causing like drama. A lot of offseason drama. It started with that playoff game against the Bengals when he, raised his hands up to Allen, and it kind of continued into the season a little bit. And there was a lot of questions going on. And then he had that big drop in the game against the Chiefs that Allen kind of put it right where he could have caught it, and it just went through his hands. So I think it was addition by subtraction for the Bills, even though they, lost their most talented receiver. They bring in Keon, they bring in Samuel, they bring in a couple of these other guys. Kincaid second year under Joe Brady's system. They also draft Ray Davis. Their defense is going to get Matt Milano back. So a lot of people are picking against the Bills, saying the window has closed. It kind of seems like the narrative, but I kind of think this is a good time, a good value on the Bills, good time to buy back on the Bills. I've heard some other people say that as well. I agree. I just think when you have Josh Allen, anything is possible. As the great Kevin Garnett once said when they won the NBA Finals with the Boston Celtics. So, Keon Coleman, I was kind of out on him after watching all his snaps, but I'm continuing to kind of see a path where he could be successful. And I like his attitude. He's going to keep working hard as he can. He's working on his route running. So, I think it's going to be a win for the Bills ultimately with Keon Coleman. And as far as JMO, as we're getting into my round 12 pick, all reports are, this guy struggled with ACL injury. Then he got the gambling. So he's had 2 slow starts. All reports are, he's looking, back to the JMO from Alabama. And Dan Campbell's saying he's a different player this year. Ben Johnson's talking about, how JMO believes he could do anything on the field. I think they're going to utilize him, in very, very creative ways this year. And I think that may take a little bit away from Amon-Ra St. Brown, but playing in that offense, I think JMO, he's got potential to have his best season for sure. I mean, it shouldn't take much with the way he started his career, but I think he could be a very, very relevant and productive fantasy player, NFL player this season. All right, let's go back here. Let's look at our team. We got Debo, Christian, Tyreek, Keon Jameson, Najee, Etienne, Taylor. Let's look at the quarterbacks. I don't want to completely miss on these guys yet. So, I mean, they're falling now. Do I take Gardner Minshew here? Fuck it, eh? I do think he's going to win the job. I do think Gardner's going to win the job. He may not. Fuck. I don't want to take Gardner Minshew here, man. Fuck it. Let's take another Bills receiver. We take Shakir. So we don't have Josh Allen, but we got two of his weapons in Shakir and Keon Coleman. So Keon doesn't hit, Shakir will hit. One of these guys is going to hit good. So I like it. Running back there, Chubb is still sitting there. Singletary, Eckler, J.K. Dobbins. And there's so many. This is why you play fantasy football. This is why you watch sports, because it's a drama in itself. It's a soap opera in itself. It's a series in itself. It's a movie in itself. There's so many different storylines. Each player's got their own story. And then the fantasy, just take J.K. Dobbins, for example. Like, his story is crazy. The guy, one of the most talented running backs coming out of Ohio State. His career at yards per carry is like 5. Tears his ACL, misses a whole year, comes back the following year, misses like 4 games, comes back. It's another scope. Then he gets hurt, comes back again. Then he performs well in the playoffs, looking juicy. Week 1, he scores a touchdown early. They're driving down again. He's getting near the goal line. He gets tackled. I think it was a hip drop tackle, which is now banned. And then he tears his Achilles, out for the year, week 1. Justice Hill goes to score 2 more touchdowns. Dobbins would have been absolute gold in fantasy last year. He was my highest owned running back last year. That week 1 was disastrous with Dobbins going down, and then Aaron Rodgers, as a Jets fan, going down. And then Nick Chubb, who was like one of my 3rd or 4th highest owned running backs, going down week 2. So it was a very, very rough start to the fantasy football season last year for me. But Dobbins now in LA with Harbaugh in a run-first offense says the Achilles was supposing nothing to him. It's crazy. He said that before. So I'm buying in again, man. I'm buying it. 3rd time's a charm with J.K. Dobbins. Shit, there goes Romeo Dobbs. Oh, there goes Gardner Minshew. Freaking bastard. No, I'm gonna have to take Taysom Hill, man. I mean, I don't have to take another quarterback at this point. I mean, I could just fill the other flex spot with a running back, a receiver, or tight end. So I usually like to get 3 solid quarterbacks. Rashid Shaheed is sitting there, who I love. Let's look at the running backs, guys. Chubb is there, baby. I got to take Nick Chubb here. I just got to do it. Remember, this is Superflex best ball. So that's kind of why you like to have those 3 solid quarterbacks. I don't know why I was thinking this was set the line. I was thinking this was like a managed league for a second. It is 1:30 in the morning here on the East Coast. This draft started at 12:05. So yeah, this is a best ball. So yeah, I mean, you kind of like to get those 3 quarterbacks just because those guys have pop weeks. It just fills into your lineup. But like I said, I mean, I could take Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill is going to have some 15, 20-point games, maybe a 25-point game or 2 this year. I could also take Brissett. I mean, there's a possibility he holds the job. I could take O'Connell. I could take Darnold. I really do think McCarthy right now. If I had to make a guess, I think McCarthy's going to get the job in Minnesota. I think Minshew's going to get the job in Las Vegas. And I do think we're going to see Drake May at some point. But I do think that Darnold could start for like 4 or 5 weeks. And, he certainly could keep the job all year. I do like Kevin O'Connell's system. He's got Justin Jefferson. Now, Jordan Addison may be suspended early in the year, although the arraignment is not till October. But the league may come down early. We'll see. Hawkins is not going to be around for a while. And O'Connell, I mean, he did have some pop weeks with Devontae last year. I mean, it's not like Gardner Minshew is, anything special. So he could certainly win that job. And I just think I do think all those guys are going to come over. There's a possibility Penix could step in for Cousins at some point, just strictly due to injury. But that is a possibility. We may see Joe Flacco again. So we'll see what I do there at the quarterback position. Let's start to put some of these guys in our queue. We talked about Xavier Legette, how much we like him. I do like Demario Douglas. He's kind of like a Zay Flowers type player. Again, the quarterback situation sucks. Wan'Dale Robinson, another small receiver I like taking a lot. We just talked about Ricky Pearsall, with that Ayuk trade. Jalen Tolbert is a sleeper I like. Been watching the camps, watching the reports. Even Dak saying he's a different player this year. Brandon Cooks is older now. I think Tolbert, I think they're going to throw the ball more. I mean, they didn't do anything. They didn't draft the running back. They brought back Zeke. They got rid of Zeke. They bring him back. Freaking Rico Dowdle, Deuce Vaughn. So I just think the Cowboys are going to slang the rock. And I think Tolbert's going to be a big part of that. Michael Gallup is out the way. Also, Andre Isovias. Tyler Boyd is empty there now. Burrow is talking about saying he's going to have a big year. You also do have the rookie out of Alabama that they did draft, Jermaine Burton. But I think Isovias, maybe second year, has a little bit of a leg up there. Javon Baker is kind of flashing a little bit in camp. Treylon Burks now with the DeAndre Hopkins injury. That's a name to kind of pay attention to, former first-round pick. I do think that the Titans are going to sling the rock this year with Willie Levis. Now, it may get ugly at times. He may throw 25 picks, but he could throw 25, 30 touchdowns too with those weapons he's got. A little bit of an older receiver room, but their offensive line's better. They got Brian Callahan. Callahan is his son's the coach. Dad comes in to kind of mentor him, be the offensive line guru, help the offensive line. So, just some guys I like taking late at the receiver position. As far as running backs, JK is still there, but I expect him to be gone. Marshall Boyd, Jalen Wright, Jaleel McLaughlin, Kendry Miller has fallen ever since that Dennis Allen comment where he said, you got to stay healthy if you want to make the team. He has just dropped in ADP. Kendry Miller's start to his NFL career has been disastrous. There goes J.K. Dobbins. I just missed out on him. All right, I think we got to go back to tight end here. And we're going to take Chig. Chigger likely. Fuck. Kind of want to take Likely. I just feel like he has more upside. But you know what? Let's take Likely. We're going to take Likely. So we get our second tight end there. So we have David Njoku and Isaiah Likely in a tight end premium draft. Let's go over our team real quick for the listeners on Apple and Spotify. Tyreek Hill, Jordan Love, Superflex, $35, FFPC, Superflex Best Ball Tournament, playing for $100K. A lot of entries, over 10,000 entries, I'm sure. Haven't checked it, but I'm pretty sure it's over that. Probably even more than that. But anyway, Tyreek, Jordan Love, Jonathan Taylor, Travis Etienne, Deebo Samuel, Aaron Rodgers as my second quarterback, David Njoku, Christian Watson, Najee Harris, Keon Coleman, Jameson Williams, Khalil Shakir, Nick Chubb, Isaiah Likely. And we have 6 picks left here and coming up in the 15th round. We are at the end of the 14th. We're about to start the 15th. You guys can see the board along with me here. And let's see. Try to fix that camera a little bit. There you go. You can see my face a little bit. We're going on an hour. We should wrap this up in about 20 minutes, I would say. But let's look at some of the builds here. And you can see most of these guys got 3 quarterbacks. Everybody's got 3 quarterbacks except for, wow, Team 6 only has Mahomes. And then everybody's got 3 quarterbacks except for me and Team 6, it looks like. So, they ate up all the quarterbacks. What can I say? There goes Sam Darnold, too. So, I don't know what we're going to do. I may take Taysom Hill just to have a little bit of insurance in case one of my quarterbacks goes down. At least I have somebody that can kind of fill that role a little bit. All right, we're up next, guys. There goes Marshawn Lloyd. Jalen Wright is still there. I do like Ray Davis. I talked about actually, I didn't really talk about Ray Davis, but I do like him. Supposedly, Joe Brady did want to take Ray Davis. He liked him a lot. When Joe Brady took over last year, they really ran the ball a lot with James Cook. They were using Latavius Murray. So there's going to be another guy involved. And I don't think it's going to be Ty Johnson. I think it's going to be Ray Davis. I like Ray Davis's tape. We talked about how Kendre Miller has fallen. We still got Leggett and Douglas. I'm going to take Ray Davis. We got 3 Bills, or do I take Jalen Wright? I'll take Jalen Wright. I'll switch it up. We got 2 Bills. I don't know if I want 3 Bills. I mean, I don't mind having 3 Bills, but I'll take Jalen Wright. Get an injury to Achane, get an injury to Mostert. I don't think Jeff Wilson is in the mix anymore. I mean, forget about Jeff Wilson at this point. So, I mean, Jalen Wright could have a nice role in that team in his rookie year. We got 5 picks left, guys. And I don't mind taking DeMarcus Robinson. I don't mind taking Jalen McMillan. I also like Jalen McMillan. I already told you about Tolbert. Jalen McMillan is kind of like, I feel like he's better than Polk, and Polk's going ahead of him. I feel like McMillan's a better player. I feel like McMillan's in a better situation. McMillan kind of reminds me of like a Will Fuller type player. He had some injuries there at Washington. I just watched all those guys. I thought McMillan was the second best receiver on the team behind Odunze. Adonai is a nice upside pick. Michael Wilson in his second year in Arizona with a healthier Kyler. I don't mind that. A lot of people are talking about Rashad Bateman. I can't. I think it's. I mean, come on. Rashad Bateman's gonna have a big year. I mean, I just don't see it. But you know what? Honestly, it's not a bad pick at this point. Quentin Johnson just continues to struggle with drops. Continues, like, every clip you see of him is like he can't track the ball. He struggles with drops. I don't know. He stood out to me on tape when I watched him at TCU. These TCU receivers, I think the other one was, the hell was the other guy years ago? Can't remember his name, but he was a bust too. The Redskins took him. He was another TCU receiver that busted. Didn't freaking Jalen Reagor go to TCU too? These TCU receivers. Something about these TCU receivers, man. I'm pretty sure Jalen Rager went to TCU. Let me just double check that. Yep, he went to TCU too. Josh Dotson was the guy that the Redskins took. So you have Dotson, I believe he was a first, second round pick. Rager was a first round pick. Quentin Johnson, I think, was a first. All these guys, there's something with TCU. I don't know what the fuck it is, but they all bust when they get to the pros. So I'm not going to give up on Quentin Johnson. I've been taking him in a few drafts late, especially when I take Herbert. Mostly when I take Herbert. Um, but it doesn't look good right now. DJ Chark's playing ahead of him. You got Josh Palmer. You got Lab McConkey. So it's not good for Quentin Johnson, but I'm not going to give up on him just yet. Jalen Rager, I had high hopes on. I remember I liked Josh Dotson too. I liked all these guys. They're freaking deceivers. The next big TC receiver, I'm definitely going to have to do a double, triple check on. There goes Aiden O'Connell. Not a bad pick at this point in a super flex. There goes Ricky Pearsall. All right. So we're coming back up again. FFPC $35 Superflex Draft. Thanks for joining us tonight, guys. We'll be doing more of these drafts. Maybe I'm going to try to do one or two of these a week at least, all the way up to the season. I might do some team previews leading up to the season as well. I'm going to start really diving into the tape on all these teams. I've done a lot of work already, but I still have a lot of work to do, and just kind of reminding myself on each player, going through each team, checking out some of the rookies, some of the free agents, just to refresh. I mean, when you go back and you can look at the stats, you can look at the analytics, but sometimes it's just nice to go back and watch the highlights or watch some games that these guys played last year. You go on YouTube now, you can watch full targets. You can watch every single target a receiver had, every single carry a running back had, every single throw a quarterback had. And when you watch that, it just kind of refreshes your memory. You get a good idea. And, certain guys are going to stick out more than others. And, it kind of just puts things in perspective the most. So I think that's kind of part of my process. So I still got a lot to do. I got a lot of, work to do in that aspect. Got the Warren Sharp book that I still got to finish that. There's a lot of work, man. Trying to really stay competitive here in the fantasy football world with the analysis and the amount of leagues I'm playing in. I want to bring home a good ROI this year. Last year was not great for me. Um, so we want to make it a better season this year. We want to just get better and better every year. But some years you're going to do good, some years not going to do good. You just want to make sure that you're bringing home money every year at least. That is the goal. All right. Coming back up here. Little Herbert, I don't mind that pick. So Leggett and Douglas are still both there for me. I've taken a ton of Leggett in best ball. I've taken a lot of Demario Douglas. Kendry Miller's still sitting there like a loaf of bread. Jacoby Brissett, Taysom Hill, the last kind of two quarterbacks. Jacoby Brissett. He's like the last quarterback you could really take. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna take Jacoby Brissett. Ugh. That did not feel good. But it's a super flex league. So, God forbid one or two of my quarterbacks go down. At least I have a starting quarterback. Doesn't sound like Drake May is anywhere close to starting the season as a starter. But I do expect him to see him, maybe after, I would say the earliest after week 4. It could happen earlier, but I think Brissett's going to hold the job down for a little while, maybe a month or two. I don't think the Patriots are in a big rush to get May out there. But, once the team is just losing and there's a losing record, they're going to be like, all right, let's see what Drake's got. And that may happen like week 7, week 8, week 9, week 10. Some point it's going to happen. All right. And you're probably going to see Taysom go, Penix go. And maybe Flacco or Winston or a lot. We'll see. Rattler may go. There's been a lot of hype on him. He's going to take Derek Carr's job. I don't know. Fucking those three receivers are still sitting there. I still like Demarcus Robinson. Marvin Mims is an intriguing one. A lot of people like Luke McCaffrey. Stay with the bloodlines. Again, it's not just the father's side with Ed. His freaking mom was like a big time soccer player, I think. And then her dad, which is from Jersey, Fairlawn, New Jersey, a town I used to live close to in Bergen County in Jersey. His dad was like an Olympic runner. So the bloodlines are elite. So why can't Luke freaking be the next man up in that family? Why? I mean, it just makes all the sense in the world. It's like all these this bloodline is just elite, elite, elite. So it seems like it's going to be a continuation. A lot of times the little brothers are better than the older brothers. So we'll see. All right. So any other names here at the receiver position? I mean, Tyler Boyd's not a bad one. Not a terrible one. Corley, I do have Aaron Rodgers. I'm not thrilled with Malachi Corley. I don't know. I watched him. He didn't really stick out. There goes Estime, a guy that I like to take, a guy that I think could earn a nice role with Denver. But I am buying into the Javonte hype a little bit. Finally, never was a Javonte guy, but now you get him at a value. Not a lot of people are talking about him. Sean Payton's saying that he's looked better than ever. Again, it makes sense. He's coming his second year now off that ACL, multiple knee ligament injury. So wasn't himself last year. This should be a better year for Javonte Williams, but I do like Estime. So you could take Javonte and Estime, or you could take McLaughlin. You could take two of those backs in that backfield in a best ball. Kendrick, I'm telling you, man, nobody wants this guy. It's crazy. Will Shipley is a name that's getting intriguing now. Philly kind of likes to use multiple backs, and I think Shipley may move ahead of Gainwell. Boston Scott is finally out of the picture. I think he's with the Rams now. And Shipley, really, I liked him out of Clemson, man. He looks good. So, yeah, he's being drafted ahead of Gainwell. And I think I like Will Shipley as a pick, especially if you're a Saquon Barkley owner. I think you go after Will Shipley. Devontae Foreman had a scare in camp, got airlifted to the hospital with his neck, but he's perfectly fine. He's back with the team already. Nick Chubb, again, may not start the year. I drafted Nick Chubb. It's going to be Dante Foreman and Jerome Ford. Dante Foreman has kind of produced everywhere he's went. He's a guy that recovered from an Achilles injury, but it took him 2-3 years to bounce back. But he did recover. And he's looked good doing it in Chicago, in Carolina, with the Titans, playing behind Derrick Henry. So I do like taking Dante Foreman as well. Trey Sermon looks like he's going to back up Jonathan Taylor in Indianapolis. Really like Trey Sermon coming out of Ohio State. Just not getting it done. Man, my receivers are still left, dude. Leggett and Robertson. Do I want Leggett or do I want Robinson? Leggett or Robinson? Ah. Running back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 running backs. I think I could get the running back on the way back, so I don't need to take a running back here. I'm going to take I want to take Wandell. I don't know why. I want to take Leggett. I'm going to go with my gut here. I'm going to take Leggett. I love his talent. Again, it's a little bit slow start in camp. Plenty of time to turn it around. I think we're going to finish up this draft with one more tight end. We talked about Tucker Kraft, who just returned from the PUP. Tavion Sanders, another guy, rookie. He could be a little bit of a sleeper. Maybe Theo Johnson, a deep sleeper at tight end is um, the Rams tight end, Davis Allen. I know Colby Parkinson's there. He's actually next up in the queue to be picked here. He got paid, but Colby Parkinson's never done anything. I don't think Colby Parkinson's good. So I think Higbee's going to be out for a while. I Davis Allen had some productive games last year. So I think Davis Allen, personally for me, is the tight end to own in with the Rams. Um, Zach Ertz is not a terrible one. Everybody's into this Ben Sinnott guy. He's supposed to be a good blocker. I watched like, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes. I watched like 2 or 3 games he played last year, and he's supposed to be a good. He looked like a terrible blocker. I don't know. I couldn't get into Ben Sinnott. I don't know where that fucking hype's coming from. So I rather have Zach Ertz playing with Jaden Daniel. I think Ertz could be pretty solid there. So I don't even mind taking Ertz in a tight end premium. I feel like Ertz could be decent. Jelani Woods is another interesting one. Now, historically, the tight end, I mean, the Colts have used 97 different tight ends every single year. They still got 97 different tight ends. But I like Jelani Woods as a late sleeper, more so if you have Anthony Richardson. But right now, I'm looking at Tucker Kraft and maybe Davis Allen. But we got 4 picks left, or 3 picks left, rather. Yeah, 3 picks left. So I'll probably take one more running back. I think somebody took Taysom Hill. Is Taysom Hill still sitting there? Shit. Let me see. Taysom Hill's still there. I don't know if I need Taysom Hill, though. It's not bad for depth, though. It's not terrible for depth. Quentin Johnston's still sitting there. Luke McCaffrey. You know what? I haven't taken Luke McCaffrey once. I may take Luke McCaffrey here. Now, Corley would make more sense because I have Rodgers, so I get a little bit of a stack there. Javon Baker, interesting. Oh, Jalen Tolbert is the one that sticks out to me the most. I've been taking Tolbert in so many drafts. We talked about Treylon Burks. Jawan Jennings is an interesting name to me now. Also, I mentioned Jacob Cowing, rookie for the Niners. He's banged up right now. All right, I think we're going to go back to running back first. Deneric Prince is sitting there. Tank Bigsby, the Jaguars keep talking up Tank Bigsby once again. I mean, he was so bad last year. They seem like they're desperate to really get a guy to go along with ETN. They just can't freaking find a guy. They drafted that rookie, I believe from Alabama or Georgia. I forget, 5th or 6th round. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Jeez. Fuck, what am I doing here? I could probably get Foreman next round. I'm just going to take Foreman. I switch it up with Luke McCaffrey, or should I take a tight end? Should I take Taysom? You know what? I'm going to take Taysom. If you guys are listening to the past podcast, I was in the hospital last year with my mom, and I spent like the whole night with her, whole day practically. And the nurse that was there, one of the nurses that was there, came to me. We were talking football. I think that she said she was from Louisiana. And she's like, my cousin plays in the NFL. I'm like, wow, really? Who's your cousin? She's like, Taysom Hill. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And she was telling me that her brother, Taysom Hill's brother, rather, her other cousin, who had passed away, was actually even a better athlete than Taysom Hill, which is crazy because Taysom Hill, lead athlete for sure. He's got that specialized role in New Orleans, but man, he's a great runner. He can throw the ball. He can catch the ball. So he'd probably be an awesome rugby player, actually. So we passed on Taysom Hill, who obviously he's got elite athleticism. If we could sneak Luke McCaffrey on the way back, we'll take him. We talk about the bloodline. If not, I do like Roman Wilson too. Out of Michigan, there's some guys. There's so many guys that I like. That's why I like kind of playing these deeper best ball leagues where they go like 34. There's a NFC best ball that goes 34 rounds. So I did a few of those. I'm actually going to slow draft for one of those. I like that because you get way down. All these guys get drafted. Freaking Kadarius Toney's getting drafted. Calvin Austin. So I like that. There goes Troy Franklin, rookie out of Oregon. I do need another running back. I'm going to take Foreman, I think. I think I got to take him here. I could switch it up, take Prince, take a chance on Prince. I don't know if I believe in Prince, though, but he's working a lot with the twos right now. Like there goes Foreman. Shit. And I have Taylor, so you know what? I should take Trey Sermon as an handcuff. That's what I should do. Somebody took Will Shipley, too. Jordan Mason's another name that I like. Garendo's banged up. Shanahan was talking recently about Mason. I think they got to give him more work. I like Mason, man. I think Shanahan's been sleeping on him. He's got to utilize him more. And then what's his name's always Elijah Mitchell's always hurt. I think that I have Taylor. You know what? I mean, you got the other Evan Hull still there. Fucking A. I'm gonna take Sermon. Oh, fuck! I almost took Michael Penix. All right, Trey Sermon. All right, one more pick left here in round 20. I said I was going to take Luke McCaffrey. If Luke McCaffrey's still there, I'll take him, but he'll probably be gone at this point. And I'm probably going to go back to Jalen Tolbert or Roman Wilson. There goes Jalen Tolbert. Wow, these guys are smart. Okay, taking these guys ahead of EP. So we got some savvy drafters here. But people are following the camp reports. Tolbert's getting more hype now. Again, the Cowboys they're gonna toss the ball, man. Their running backs stink. They're terrible. They're not going to be giving these guys a lot of carries. Dak's going to be slinging the ball around. McCarthy's going to be having a field day. Called designing all these freaking pass plays. You know what? I do need another tight end, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I only have 6 receivers. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 receivers. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 running backs, 4 quarterbacks. I guess I didn't need to take fucking Brissett and Taysom Hill, but again, it's a super flex. 2 tight ends. I think I got to get one more tight end. I think I'm going to take Tucker Kraft. Oh, somebody took Tucker Kraft? Holy shit. That's crazy. I didn't think anybody was going to take him. These guys are getting savvy, man. Yeah, somebody just took him right now. I'm going to take Sanders if he's there. Oh, my boy Davis Allen's still there too. And the Rams like to use their tight ends. You know what? Gerald Everett is another name. I feel like he's going to eat into Cole Kmet for sure. That's why I'm off Cole Kmet. There goes Baker. Let's see who lands to me here. All right, last round, guys. Thanks for joining me. Let's see what our time is at. Hour and 20, not terrible. Appreciate you guys checking in. Follow me on X at Fantasy Savvy. Please like, subscribe, share. Appreciate it. Head over to the YouTube page if you're watching on YouTube. Definitely like, subscribe. I appreciate it. And join me the rest of the season. I might do another draft later in the week. I'm also on the Face Off Sports Network. Check that out. fffaceoff.com. Lots of good info on the site. Lots of articles popping up, player outlooks. We're doing the pod 3 days a week currently. Monday, we're doing some rankings. Wednesday, we're doing ADP movers. Fridays, we're doing training camp reports. And then we'll throw a live draft or two in there as well. Last week we did training camp report and then followed up with the FFWC Superflex Draft. So check all that out. And then during the year, like I said, guys, we're going to be doing um, deep dives into the prior weeks through, me watching the condensed version, talking about, the most relevant things that happened, players that stood out. We're going to kind of do like a waiver show from that as well. The NFL picks will either be on the Face Off Sports Network or on my show. I was 15 games over 500. We'll also do some other things as well. We do some, and then, in the off season, we do NBA, we do college basketball, we do bracket breakdown. So, a bunch of different stuff that we got on this channel. So a little bit different. All right. Last pick. Wrap this baby up. Luke McCaffrey is there. I gotta take him. That's it. I gotta take it. It's gonna be different. The first time I ever took him. Actually, do I want to take a tight end? It is Superflex, but I talked up Luke McCaffrey so much. So I want to really roll with the Joku and likely at tight end and a Superflex. I probably need one more guy, and I do think Davis Allen's going to be productive this year. I really do. There goes Sanders. You know what, Luke? I promise I'll get you in the next one. Luke, I am your father. I'm going to take Davis Allen to end this draft. There we go. Let's recap the team for the listeners real quick, and then we'll say goodnight. Quarterback, Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, Jacoby Brissett, Taysom Hill. Running back, Jonathan Taylor, Travis Etienne, Najee Harris, Nick Chubb, Jalen Wright, Trey Sermon. Wide receiver, Tyreek Hill, Deebo Samuel, Christian Watson. So we got the Love Watson stack at least. Nothing stacked with Rodgers. I wanted to get freaking Tucker Craft. Somebody took him. I didn't expect that. But then again, he just came back into camp, so that's probably why he went. Keon Coleman, Jameson Williams, Khalil Shakir, Xavier Legette, David Njoku, Isaiah Likely, and Davis Allen, who is going to fill in for the Rams while Tyler Higbee's out. And I do think Allen might be the best tight end on the team. So there you have it, guys. $35 FFPC. Check out their site. Superflex Best Ball Tourney have tons of different types of tournaments, tons of dynasty, very unique dynasty leagues too. They're the most unique when it comes to drafts, I think. But the NFC, I'll be doing some of their drafts, and the FFWC, all great sites, all have great tournaments. And then Underdog may do a couple of those as well before the season starts here. Thanks for joining me, guys. I appreciate it. We'll see you next time here on the Fantasy Savvy Weekly Show. Take care. Have a good rest of the week.